Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Sales Manager Academy podcast. I'm your host, Omar, and as always, we talk leadership in the boutique retail settings. So think of wireless retail, AV sales, appliances, anything outside of your standard like big box retail. Oftentimes, we're talking not just product, but we're also talking services, right? That's a big uh, offering that is part of the company, the organization. And oftentimes you're leading teams that aren't very big. You're talking about anywhere from 5 to maybe 15 employees is what you have that you're running with. And it's the importance of understanding how your locations run, right? As a district manager, as an area manager, as a regional director, and doing everything that you can within your power to help those teams grow. And oftentimes, especially in small organizations, we don't have all the means, all the support that we would like to have or wish we had, or the training and developing that, we as individual leaders want to have to make sure that we're truly prepared for everything that we're going to be facing going into so that our teams can have the right level of support, the right level of foundation to be as successful as they can be. Um, and that's what we're here for, right? Everything that we can do to help you become better, to help take learned material, proven material, and utilize it to actually become better at what we're doing. And if you're saying, Omar, we're good, I don't need any of that, my company is great. If your organization still has to bring outside leaders in to fill open positions, it means that you don't have training and developing in-house. Okay. It means that you don't have the right skill sets in-house to truly develop all the people that are needed within the organization already that have that tribal knowledge, that have proven track records that they are successful in their positions and have that want to grow. Because I've seen it plenty of times where those individuals, they have that want. They've been with the company for years and they get promoted and then they get demoted, but they're still with the organization. And then they're still yearning, they still want to get, grow into that role and they get promoted again and then they get demoted again. That is not a sign of a bad employee or a weak employee. That means that the organization is very faulty. Whether you like to hear it or not, if you're an owner operator, and this is you, and you see this within your organization, within your teams, where you've promoted multiple people, but then you have to demote them, and they're still within the organization. That's not an issue with those people. That's an issue with you not having the right systems in place, the right trainings and developings to make them successful, the right foundations to allow those individuals to actually be successful as leaders. That's what that means. That is a very, very telltale sign. And we're here to solve that. We're here to give you, I'm here to give you the guidance needed to be as successful as you can be, to make sure that your people aren't going through that kind of, at the end of the day, and ends up being misery. Okay. It really does. It sucks. Because obviously these are people with great potential, and it's unlocking that potential and allowing them to really have a foundation to be successful. And what we're talking about today in particular is actually store visits, right? If you're a district manager, an area manager, regional director, and you're just doing store visits without a goal, you're wasting time. You're wasting your time, you're wasting their time. You really want to maximize the amount of time that you have when you're doing store visits. So instead of thinking of them as store visits, think of them as coaching visits. You're going in with an actual agenda. You're going in not just to say, okay, I'm coming into this location so I can check it off my list and I just got to check these things off. Check, 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 check. And that's it. You don't want to do that. What you want to do is actually go in to help drive results, right? Because you know what I'm talking about. You're doing your store visits and it feels like you do the store visit and there's like nothing that comes out of it. Maybe you see a little bit of pop because you're there and you're on the sales floor and you're also interacting with customers and helping close deals. But after you leave, it kind of goes back down. It drops. Performance isn't there. Okay. You got to stop treating your store visits like a routine checklist of items that you need to get knocked out, right? I'm going to check your inventory. I'm going to check your time clocks. I'm going to check your whatever. Stop treating it as that. those should already be solid. You should already have your expectations set. So you don't have to really worry about that aspect of the business. What you want to do is walk in and help coach your team on items that they need to be coached on so that you're not leaving performance on the table. And that's a hard part for a lot of people to realize because how do I, as the executive leader of the region, district, area, regional, doesn't matter. Uh, how can I do that with my team without coming off as arrogant, without coming off as obnoxious? And when you come in and do a store visit without a clear goal, you are coming off as obnoxious. You are coming off as, doing redundant visits. Like, why the fuck are you here? Like, what's the purpose of the visit? Whenever you come in, it's always something bad. And that's what you want to move away from. You don't want to have that kind of stigma when you're doing your visits. You want them to know, like, hey, when I'm doing a store visit, we're taking something out of here that's going to be very valuable. And I want you to walk away feeling that you're taking more from my visit than what I'm getting. And that's a big takeaway. You don't want them walking away and being like, what was the fucking point of the visit? Because I've seen that too many times. I've been in those shoes where I'm the one on the receiving end and wondering why the fuck are these executives doing visits if it's just a fucking waste of time? Like, what is the purpose? Right? Like, just so that you can show these other people that, okay, cool, my location fucking rocks. Like, give me a purpose. Like, what is the purpose of the actual visit? If it's just you coming in to see and it's our, routine of the visit. Okay. Change it up a little bit from just being a checklist visit where you're popping in to an actual coaching visit where you have a clear goal of what you want to help accomplish, right? So you don't leave the team wondering what was the point of the visit. Every store visit without intentional coaching, it just sends the wrong message, right? It doesn't tell your team that you're there to support them. It tells them that, okay, you're just there because you need to check this off your list because they're tracking the GPS on whatever you submit, right? They need to know that you went to this location and that's the reason why you're here more than, okay, because I guarantee you've seen those DMs, those areas managers, they pop in for a quick 30, 45 minutes and then they're gone. What was the point of the visit? Like, literally, what was the point of the visit? You don't want to do that. You want to transform your visits with clear goals. Do observations, give immediate feedback, do coaching sessions. Okay. You don't have to do a coaching session with the entire team. Maybe you want to do it with a couple of people that need the support, that need that additional, uh, observation, that additional feedback, um, to really help elevate what they're doing. Maybe you have some new hires at that location. You're going in not to check on the new hires. You're going in to see how their training has been going, to see, where they're at, and to do a quick coaching session with them. So, okay, this is where you're at because maybe they stepped up and they're ahead of where they need to be at, but you don't really see that because obviously they're not posting numbers yet. So you're like, okay, we got to get you on the board faster than late, sooner than later. So let's do that. Talk to the manager. Boom. This is what we're going to do. This is the goal, right? And that's what we want to focus on. Or if it's a new hire and they're a little bit behind and it could be a quick fix, you do that coaching session. You can have those conversations there, but you have a clear goal as to what you're doing. It's not, remember, coaching sessions are not PIP sessions. They are not write-ups. They are not performance improvement plans. You're actually going in to train and develop the people through actual feedback, through actual coaching sessions. Where you're taking a look and seeing, all right, what were the goals that they set? Where we at this far into the month with your goals? What do you think can be done to change up, right? Based on where we're at now so that you can track where you're at or great going, you're on par. How do you feel about the goal based on what you're hitting now? You want to have those conversations, okay? Just never walk in without a clear coaching objective. That's super, super important for you to, if you want your teams to truly perform at a level that you didn't think was conceivable, or to even perform at base, right? At goal when they haven't. You have to have those clear coaching goals because their performance is a clear indication of your leadership. I don't care how you want to, slice it. Your team's, your area's performance is a clear indication or lack of leadership that you're offering them. That's what it comes down to. And when you're doing your visits and you're coming in with an actual clear objective when it comes to coaching sessions, you're coming in to help build habits. You're not there to just check off stuff that's on a checklist. Okay. That's the important thing. You're going to reinforce daily behaviors, not just focus on what the monthly goals are, not, all right, where are we on track right now for the performance for your goals, right? You're looking at these KPIs, do better. That's not a coaching session. That's not clear actual feedback. That's just you hounding down and telling them that no matter what they do, they suck. They're not going to want to perform. They're not going to want to do better. They're just going to want to, they one want you gone, right? Away from there. They don't want to be around you. And two, they're not going to want to perform for you because you as a leader are not supporting and developing them. You're not giving them the foundation that they need as individual contributors. That's a big difference. Now, use the tools that you have. Maybe your company does have some coaching session tools or some reinforcement tools that you can use. This is a perfect time to use them. If they don't, grab the link in the bio, go to the description of the video, and grab that 15-minute framework. It's an easy way to, set up a coaching session and be able to really get it in within about 15 minutes and have a much more impactful session than you would from an hour or two conversation or a coaching session or training that you would do with them typically. Okay. It's that important. And when you change your visits from just being a checklist visit, my regular check-in, to now, all right, yeah, I'm going to take care of what we need to do, but more importantly, we're going to focus on more coaching sessions during my visits. Okay. Uh, you're sending a, a clear commitment that when I leave, this is what I expect to see, right? You're setting up not just clear expectations, but you're also coming back and inspecting those expectations. You're letting your team know, I'm going to inspect what I expect. And I'm also going to support you because you cannot complete this. You cannot achieve this if you don't have the right level of support from your leadership, from me, right? Not just from me, maybe from my leadership. But what is the level of support that you need? And I need to be able to know that. And I can't do that unless we have clear communication. And we have clear communication by having good coaching sessions. Because then I have a better understanding of what you're lacking and where I can come in. And I have a better understanding of where you see yourself, as opposed to me telling you what I see from you and you not taking ownership. Guys, the biggest part of coaching is the fact that people take ownership of the things that they're going to commit to do. When you, as the leader, tell the individual what they need to do and they don't achieve it, the onus isn't on them because they didn't commit to it. It doesn't matter. You can be like, Omar, well, they said, yeah, they're going to rock it. They're going to hit this goal that I gave them. That was not a goal that they set, that they truly committed. That was a stretch goal. So in their eyes, if they don't hit it, they don't hit it. As opposed to them setting the goal and saying, this is the goal I'm going to hit, and then taking ownership of that. Because not only did they say they were going to hit that goal, they committed to that goal, they said it out loud, they visualize themselves doing it. People don't want to be liars. It doesn't matter what you think of a person. People inherently do not want to be liars. They want to do what they set out to do. And if they're not able to do that, then us as leaders have to step in and give them the right level of support, which comes in the form of coaching, which is training and developing, not in the form of write-ups, not in the form of pips. Okay. I have to say that because some people don't know that a pip is a write-up or a write-up is a pip. Yeah. Um, but that makes a big difference. Change your thoughts on doing store visits from just being a checklist visit to being a coaching visit. That makes a big difference. not in how your team sees it, but in how you interact with the visit. And you start to focus more on conversations than inspections of going through and just checking things off the checklist, of pencil whipping that visit. Okay. And your role goes from just reviewing numbers to asking the right questions and leading meaningful conversations in the coaching sessions. Because remember, it's not you doing the majority of the talking when you're doing a coaching session. You're guiding and leading the conversation, yes, but it's the employee that's actually driving the conversation. They're the ones speaking 80% of the time because it is their coaching session. All you're doing is just fostering it. That's the difference. Small little tweak in how you do things, how you see things, makes a world of difference. Remember, when we're talking about everlasting change, change that is sustainable, we don't talk about making these big, big changes because big changes are not sustainable in the long run. They might work for a little bit, but just like when you overexert yourself at the gym doing an exercise you've never done before, especially if you've never worked out before, it causes more injury than helps. Because yes, you feel great while you're doing it, and then you don't have the capacity to continue it. That mental fortitude is something that you have to train and develop, which means it happens over time. It doesn't happen in a short period of time. It'll happen over daily small habits. And that's what you do when you start focusing on conversations rather than inspections. And if you're wondering, well, what are some things that I can do? What can I say to kind of get me there? Simple. Ask reps more questions like, what's working for you right now? Don't go in instead of saying like, why aren't you hitting this target? Like, why do you suck at this target? Why can't sell fucking VGAs? You can't sell internet? No, don't go with that attitude. Go with what's working with you or what's working for you right now. Because then it changes the focus from their mindset of this shit doesn't work to, well, I've seen this works the most. Okay, cool. How can we apply that to other aspects, to other KPIs? How can we really get that going? And that's when you can also use the what else. If you don't know what the what else is, leave a comment. I'll explain it to you. But when you start doing this and you start focusing on real coaching during your visits, it leaves your reps more energized, more focused, and it gives them more clarity about the next steps. It doesn't leave them anxious or uncertain about where they stand in your eyes because you're taking time to train and develop them. You're giving them the opportunity to become better, and they want to become better because they want to perform. That's just of it. We're in sales not because we fucking get an hourly check. We're in sales because we actually have a little bit of fun selling. We love interacting with people. We love interacting with clients and customers. And we like the fact that we can increase what our base income is. That's salespeople. And if the people that you have are struggling, it's not that they suck. No, your leadership sucks, plain and simple. So level up your leadership, become better, not just for yourself, but also for the people that depend on you, which is your teams. It is their sake why you want to become better. And when they become better, when they perform better, you as a leader will be elevated to heights that you didn't think was possible. Small habits, such as doing coachings during your visits instead of just checking things off a list, makes huge impacts because it's consistent. It's small, consistent behaviors done over time. Remember, going back to, the term Kaizen, it's the relentless improvement. 1% better every day is still much better than a 30 to 40% improvement because that 30, 40% improvement from a one-time bump is not sustainable. But your people can become 1% better. And 1% better over time is a lot more and is a lot more sustainable. It's a lot more consistent. That's why I've always told my people that I'd rather have a team that's consistent in selling than have those rock star sellers that are boom or bust. Because at least when I have consistent sellers, I know what to expect. I don't have to worry about is this going to be a boom or bust period. They're going to be consistent and they're always going to be going up because consistency, they know what works, they focus on what works, and they know when things don't work well, how it can be adjusted. They can pivot so they have less fear of the changes because they can adjust to that as it comes through. That's the biggest difference. So stop doing fucking checklist visits as DMs, as area managers, as regionals. Start doing coaching visits and focus on leveling up your team and leveling up your leadership. It'll take you to heights you didn't think was possible. So, guys, I want to say thanks again for taking time, spending time with us today here at the Sales Manager Academy podcast. If you're needing to, or if you're wanting to level up your skills as a leader, to level up your coaching habits, um, your coaching sessions, and you don't know how, take a look at the link in the bio, grab the link in the description, and use that 15-minute framework to help level up your coaching. The framework itself, the form that you would use, is free. Grab it, use it. Start changing your team's performance and your leadership in as little as 15-minute coaching sessions. All right, guys, I want to say thanks again for stepping in to another episode here at Sales Manager Academy podcast. I'm Omar, and I'll catch you on the next one.